A very warm welcome to all of you in my YouTube channel. My name is Gautam Kumar. Today I am going to teach about English literature very prominent poet John Keats important poem. I am not teaching his poem all details. I only teach poems introduction which is generally asked many examination. Let's start short introduction of John Keats. Then I start his important poems detail. Let's start. English romantic poet John Keats was born in Moorgate, London, 31st October in 1795. He was died 23rd February in 1821, only 26-year-old. His first poem, Endymion, The Eve of St. Agnes, second work, The La Belle Dame Sans Merci, it is his third work. His great odes, To Melancholy, To a Nightingale, To Psyche and Ode to Grecian Urn. Let's start John Keats' first important work, Endymion. Endymion is John Keats' long narrative poem in 4 volumes. It is written in 1817 and published in 1818. It is dedicated to Thomas Chatterton. It is written in heroic couplet. It deals with the Greek myth of the love of Cynthia for Endymion. Cynthia is the moon goddess. Endymion is a Greek myth. Keats turns his myth into allegory. This poem does not show maturity. It has a rich and suggestive beauty. It's open with the famous line, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Its loveliness increases. The first book describes the festival of the gods Pan on empty Latmus. The second book describes Endymion's wandering in search of his true love. The third book describes the episode of Gluctus and Scala. The fourth book describes Endymion's falling in love with an Indian maiden. Endymion dreams of Cynthia. She appears to be the moon. The Indian maiden disappears. He finds himself on empty Latmus. He fails to understand how he can love Cynthia and the Indian maidens at one and the same time. The book comes to an end with the identification that Cynthia, the moon, and Indian maidens Let's start his second work, that's named The Eve of St. Agnes. The Eve of St. Agnes is Keats' best narrative poem. It is written in 1819 and published in 1820. It is about the elopement of two romantic lovers, Porphyro and Madeline. The poem is based on the medieval superstition related to the yew of St. Agnes, a young maiden. If she fast and prays, will have the visions of her absent lover. Madeline keeps fast and prays. She goes to bed. Her lovers, Porphyrius, enter her bedroom and elopes with her. The poem is known for its sensuousness, its dreamy atmosphere, and its medieval coloring. It has the color of Spenser's Faerie Queene. It is written in Spenserian stanza. It narrates in smooth and full of life. This is poem's important line. And not my love, my seraph fair awake. Thou art my heaven, and I thine eremite. Let's start his third important work, which name is La Belle Dame Sans Merci. La Belle Dame Sans Merci is Keats' ballad. It is written in 1819 and published in 1820. The title is from a 15th century poem by Alain Chartier, a French poet. The poem has 12 stanzas of 4 lines each. The rhyming scheme is ABCB. It is about a knight who wanders in search of a beautiful lady, a fairy. He shares with the poet, saying that the beautiful lady takes him to her cave, where she makes love with him. At night he dreams the pale warriors and kings warns him that he is in the power of the beautiful lady without mercy. He wakes up. He does not find the lady. Since then, he has been searching for the lady. The poem is autobiographical. It shows Keats' own love for Fanny Brawley. It has the medieval atmosphere of magic and mystery. It shows the power, mastery over the ballad's stanza. The question-answer technique is unique. The diction is simple. It shows a fusion of sound and sense. Let's start his next work. Let's start his second work, Ode to Nightingale. Ode to Nightingale is Keats' ode. It is written in 1819. The poet Keats says with his friend Brown at Wentworth Place, Hampstead, he hears the song of a nightingale and gets inspiration. He sits under a plum tree. After 2 or 3 hours, he returns with his ode in his hand. Hence, his ode is a spontaneous expression of Keats' joy in the song. When he hears the song, his heart aches due to excess of joy. He wishes for a draught of wine so that he may escape into the beautiful world of the nightingale. Then he rejects the idea. He likes to fly on the viewless wings of poesy. He feels that if death comes to him, he will die while listening to the song of the nightingale. He knows that the same song must have been heard by Ruth, Emperor's clown, and in Fairyland Forlorn, the word forlorn reminds him of loneliness. He comes to reality. Any attempt to escape is futile. Now fancy cannot cheat him. Let's start the second work. Ode to Grecian Urn. Ode to Grecian Urn is Keats' ode. It is written in 1819. The poet takes inspiration partly from a marble urn belonging to Lord Holland, but it is also certain that Keats also thinks of Greek sculpture. In general, he sees the Grecian urn and thinks that the urn is wedded to quietness. The urn tells the story of Greek life in the past through the pictures which are carved on it. The poet wishes to know these pictures. The poet asks the carved musicians to continue their music and fill his soul with silence melody. The lover who is trying to kiss his beloved will never be able to kiss her. The lover and the beloved will always be young. Art has immortalized beauty. Human life is finite while art is infinite. The work of art, like urn, awakens imaginations. The poet gives a message when he says, "Beauty is truth, truth is beauty. That is all he knows on earth, all he need to know." Hyperion, a fragment. It is his second work. Hyperion, a fragment, is Keats' most mature poem. It is written in 1818, abandoned in 1819, and published in 1820. Later he gives it up because it was too Miltonic. The poem is about the struggle between the older race of gods and the younger race of gods. Hyperion and Saturn belong to the older race of gods, while Apollo, Jupiter, and Jove belong to the younger race of gods. Hyperion is a Titan in Greek mythology. He is the son of Uranus and Gaia. Uranus is the goddess of the sky, while Gaia is the goddess of the earth. The poet takes Paradise Lost for its model. The poem is in blank verse. The poet has frequently used inversions. It shows poets' control over structure and style. Let's see poem's first line. It is the eternal law that first in beauty should be the first in might. Let's see second other verb. The fall of Hyperion, a dream. The Fall of Hyperion, a Dream is Keats' narrative poem. It is written in 1819. The poet revoked the unfinished epic Hyperion. This revised version is Keats' own. The poet shows a deeper insight into life and its related problems. It seems to be more a vision than a dream. The poet drinks an elixir which make him see a vision. He is in a vast monument. He goes to the shrine of the priestess Moneta. He with the priestess finds the agonized fallen Saturn. This is how the poet begins. This poem is in a thoughtful tone. The poet's approach to life is something new and unusual. Let's see next work. Keats wrote two famous sonnets. First, on first looking into Chapman's Homer, and second, Bright Star. Let's see first. On first looking into Chapman's Homer is Keats' sonnet. It is written after the patterns of Petrarchan's sonnet. It consists of octave of 8 lines and sextet of 6 lines. He composes this poem soon after he finishes reading the work of Homer with his friend Corden Clarke in October 1816. In this poem, the poet expresses his joy on reading Chapman's translation of Homer. He feels surprised, and this surprise is like that of an astronomer who finds a new planet or star. His joy is deep. He feels like courage, and his champions whose joy knows no bounds when they seize the Pacific coast. He is thrilled with joy. He is translated into the ancient world of Greek. When he goes through Chapman's translation of Homer, this poem is rich in poetic beauty. Yet did I never breathe its purest serene till I hear Chapman speak out loud and bold. Let's see his next sonnet. Bright Star. Bright Star is Keats' sonnet. It presents his love for his beloved. It is composed in 1819. It is about Keats' search for peace and permanence in the ever-changing world. He has experienced miseries and suffering. He falls in love with Fanny Browne, but she does not respond to his love. He sees a bright star and wants to be firm and strong like it. The star is a worshipper of nature. He likes to take rest on the breast of his beloved. He wants to feel the rise and fall of her breast. He wishes to hear the sound of her breath. In such a blissful state, he likes to embrace death. There is no other better way of dying than dying in the embrace of the beloved. This poem is remarkable for its sensuousness and romantic passion. It contains 3 quatrains of 4 lines and 1 couplet. The rhyming scheme is AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, GG. The inspiration is Fanny Browne, though some critics believe that it is Isabel John. Beauty of nature is beautifully presented, beautiful of nature and beautiful of love are balanced. It's over. Now it is over. You want some other poems of kids? Then comments. And in next video I teach about P.B. Shelley's work and poem. Thank you. Bye.